Hello student, my name is Kumari Shilpi. I am an assistant professor in Mewar University. We already completed two lectures on the subject of management of small and medium enterprises. Let's move toward the next lecture, and that is lecture 3, and that is on the classification of MSME. We already did some of the part on the classification. We already know that the classification is based on the turnover of the particular enterprises. If we are talking about the classification, there are three type of the enterprises under MSME: micro, small and medium enterprises. In the micro enterprises, if we'll take in the concept of the manufacturing enterprises, the investment required to be less than 25 lakh. In the case of the small enterprises, the investment in manufacturing enterprises, it should be less than 5 crore. If we are talking about the medium enterprises, investment required to be need to less than 10 crore. If we are talking about the service enterprises, in micro, it required to be less than 10 lakh investment. In small, it required to be less than 2 crore, and in medium, it required to be invested in less than 5 crore. If we are talking about in the composite criteria, if we'll see the investment and the annual turnover, in micro, investment required to be less than 1 crore and turnover required to be less than 5 crore. In small, investment required to be less than 10 crore and turnover less than 50 crore. And in medium enterprises, investment required to be less than 20 crore and turnover required to be less than 250 crore. Sorry, it's investment required to be less than 50 crore. So this is all about the revised MSME definition and the classification. If we are talking about the next type, if we are see each and every enterprises in broad term, we will see the first one is the micro enterprises. So what is basically micro enterprises? So let's start with it. So if we talk about the micro enterprises, the concept of this micro enterprises was introduced in mid 1970s in Bangladesh by Muhammad Yunus, who established the Grameen Bank. These banks are provided the microfinance to those people who want to start their small startups or the small company or small businesses. So this concept was started. Even in India, the self-help group concept is also taken from same concept of the Grameen Bank. And so these type of enterprises are established through taking the small loan or micro credit, and these enterprises then started, right? So we can say this micro loan concepts was basically initiated the micro enterprises concept in the country, and globally so many countries are following the concept of the micro enterprises, or we can say the microfinance concept. We are talking about what is micro enterprises. So the micro enterprises are the small businesses which is established by taking the small amount as the loan borrowed from the financial organization or banks and operates the business with a very smaller workforce. The micro enterprises basically experienced in offering so many goods and services in their locality. We can say there are so many examples, like the women started the pickle business or very small like any rural businesses by taking such kind of loan. Like they can start the tailoring business by purchasing the shaving machines. So these are the examples of the micro enterprises. Let's start with the next one, and that is what is the other features. What are the features of this small enterprises? So if we are talking about the small enterprise, if we are talking about the small enterprises, the feature is the single business ownership. So single business ownership, it means that like MSME, the whole business is controlled by a single owner. The sole proprietor kind of person is there who is managing the whole business, and the decision is taken very quickly because there is only one single owner who is owning the whole business. There is no level of management because of less number of people available in this type of enterprise. If we are talking about the second feature, that is labor intensive business. So there are two type of in a normal country's economy, it can be the labor intensive or it can be the machinery, or we can say capitalist intensive, right? So in labor intensive business, people are given more value, or the work is totally people oriented or labor oriented, less machinery oriented. So these type of business are basically handicrafts and all those things. So labor intensive work is there. Laborers are basically appointed for the on wages system on the daily basis. Next one is high adaptation to the changing business. If we are talking about the high adaptation, it means that if there is any changes came in the business, or it can be because of the internal and external environment criteria, it these type of business easily adapt according to the environment. Like in the large business, there is a less flexibility. In these type of small enterprises, there is a high flexibility as well as adaptation rate, and the whole pattern of production can easily change, although because it's very small machineries based business is this is totally a labor intensive business. If we are talking about what is the next feature, that is cater the regional and local demand. If we are talking about that, whom they are basically selling the goods and services, who are the consumers, potential consumers, and whose demand they are fulfilling. So they are basically fulfilling the demand of the local people where these type of enterprises are running. So if it is in any of the small rural areas, it is going to serve the small those regions nearby the location of these industries. So they are basically fulfilling or cater the regional local demand. Next feature is utilize the natural resources. So these resources, from where they are using the resources, where they are basically getting the raw materials. So we were talking about the utilization of the natural resources. So from where they are getting the resources for making or producing the goods and services. So they are getting it through their local areas, from the rural areas. If there is any nearby forest or any of the other resources available, so they are utilizing all the natural resources nearby to the established area. If we are talking about types of micro enterprises, so we can easily understand like carpenters, street vendors, independent mechanics, shoemakers, plumbers, who are basically dealing with the very small number of consumers, or we can say whose operation is in a small scale. These are the micro enterprises. So we can see it in the screen. There are number of examples of micro enterprises are available. If we are talking about the next one, what is the advantages? So definitely there are so many advantages of the micro enterprises. First one is that it is integrating the dynamism into the local economy. It means the passionate and the creative entrepreneurs run the small businesses and bring the new ideas, innovations for and new products, right? So this brings multiple product choices to the consumers. They have so many alternatives available. So this is the first advantage. The second one is increase the competition in the market. So the presence of small businesses in market, which can break the monopoly of the large enterprises, and it will increase the competition in the market. Large firms cannot charge a higher market price for the low quality commodities with this prevailing competition in the market. Next one is offer products at low prices. So several small businesses bear reduced average cost because of the favorable cost structure if we'll compare it with the large firms. So we can say whose internal diseconomies of scale affect their overall production cost, right? So the lower production cost obviously leads to provide the product at the lower cost in the market, or we can say the commodities price will be automatically decreased once it will reach the economies of scale. So this is also one of the important advantage of the micro enterprises. Next one is supply specialist good. Several micro businesses supply specialist products such as semi-finished commodities, raw material, etc. Service in largest corporation in the country. This becomes possible because of their small size. It adapts very fast, changing and requirements of the larger firms. If we'll compare it with the larger firms, the changes can be easily adapted in the micro enterprises. So it brings competition in is with compared with the large firm present in the market. So these are the advantages of the micro enterprises. Next we are talking about the disadvantages. Although there are so many solutions, the employment opportunity economies are increasing in the country because of the micro enterprises, but still there are so many disadvantages. Like first one is credit problem. So these companies are totally based on the credit or the small loan facilities. Sometimes they are not able to get the proper loan because of the less documentation or due to the lack of collateral. So credit problem is there. So many people are unaware about the credit facilities available in the market. So many people don't know about the self-help group concept, regional rural bank concepts, and they are totally based on the other lenders, money lenders available in the rural areas, and they are exploiting them a lot. So we can say that the credit problem is very much in there in the rural areas or in the context if we are talking about the micro enterprises. Next one is technologically obsolescence. What is the meaning of this? That sometimes they are using the updated technology which is already out in the market. Larger firms are using the new technologies and their adoption rate is high in the context of technology because they always want efficiency and effectiveness. So we can say that because of the lack of money, profit, or the lack of awareness or less adaptation in context of technology, sometimes these type of enterprises are not up to date or they are basically outdated, and that is also one of the reasons that the profit of these enterprises are less if we'll compare it with the scale of the large companies. Next one is irregular supply of raw materials. So in so many areas when we are getting the raw materials, purchasing the raw materials, there are mediators whose role was very much prevalent. So what they are doing, they are exploiting the people who are indulged in these enterprises, and they are not supplying the raw material at the proper cost. Sometimes they are charging high cost. Sometimes they are basically providing these raw materials to the enterprises, which is basically purchased by the large enterprises. Whoever is paying the large amount, they are supplying the raw material to those people. So we can say that irregular supply of raw material is there. Even the quality is also one of the problems. Sometimes the quality is not good, which through which we are able to make the good products. So the quality deficiency is there. Problem with the mediators are the reason for the irregular supply of raw materials, and these enterprises are totally based on the raw materials. If it is not, if they will not get it on the time, definitely they are not able to produce the goods on the time. Next one is imperfect knowledge of the market. Where to sell is the very big question. Once you will produce the product, where you have to sell those product. So in here as well, there are mediators who are giving them very less amount for their product, and they are selling the same product at high cost in the market. So this is the reason. Imperfect knowledge, awareness, lack of knowledge about the government benefits, subsidies for these type of enterprises is the reason for the like less benefit to these people who are indulged in the micro enterprises. Unorganized operation, nature of operation, as I already told you, there were very less management system available, although the one or two important people are holding whole management or whole operation in the these enterprises. So we can say that sometime because of this reason, the whole scenario of the micro enterprises are suffering. So these are the disadvantages of the micro enterprises. Next one is a small enterprise. So small enterprises, if we'll just compare it with the micro enterprises, so obviously it is different because of the turnover and the amount which is required. And 25 lakh and that amount is totally different from the small enterprises. So here these enterprises are producing goods and services in the small scale, and investment of these enterprises or industries are very less, and it should not be increased from to 1 crore. If we are talking about what is the features, so same feature like micro enterprises, single ownership is also there in the small enterprises. It is also totally labor intensive. Flexibility is there. Adaptation is also high like micro enterprises. They are also utilizing the local areas resources and fulfilling the local needs or the fulfilling the demand of the local people who are available nearby to the small enterprise. So main difference is related with the turnover and the investment. objective, or we can say objective of small industries are providing the job opportunities. So I already told you that around more than 60 million people are indulged, or they are getting employment. They got employment, not getting their, they got employment in MSME. Development of rural areas, so it is basically promoting the equitable distribution of wealth in the country, or regional imbalance, they are reducing the regional imbalance, right? And that is also improving, these type of enterprises also improving the standard of living for the examples like paper bag industry, leather build industry, small toy manufacturing industries, bakeries, school industry, stationaries, beauty parlors are the example of the small scale industries. If we are talking about the medium enterprises, so medium enterprises like small and the micro enterprises, it is large if we'll compare it with the large industries, sorry, micro and small industries, if we'll compare it with, it is large, but it is not as such like large industries, right? So it does not match the scale of large corporation. Like we can take the example of regional supermarket chain are the example of the medium enterprises. So we can see that how the enterprises are classified under the MSME. We already understand about micro and small. Somehow micro, small and medium are very relatable. The basic or key feature or key difference between all these things are related with the turnover and the investment amount. And we can see that the majority of MSMEs are located in the rural areas. So many banks, loans, soft loans, subsidies are provided by the government. So we already completed with the classification of MSME. Let's move toward the next lecture. We will do it in the next class. Hope you guys enjoyed this class. Thank you.